and welcome to today's fun episode. We are going to be doing a sort of mohawk long hair style design with some shave patterning through the sides. This is my lovely model, Natalie, and she has completely virgin hair, which is just so exciting because it's great to have a clean blank canvas to have a little bit of play on and do something fun with. So she's letting me have a bit of free reign with it, but at the same time we also want something that's not going to be too high maintenance. So with the shave panels, even though these would technically be high maintenance because they would take, you know, like only a couple of weeks to grow out, the good side of it is that it's very easy then just to shave off the design after and just return back to what she currently has. So in that sense, they're very easy just to get rid of once you're done with it. But obviously under normal circumstances, if you wanted to keep the design, it would be a much more high maintenance style if you're wanting to maintain it. But in Natalie's case, we're just gonna have a bit of fun with it. And then a couple of weeks from now, she's just gonna get rid of it and return back to this. So it's no problems for that. And then through this part of the hair, the plan at the moment, which can always change of course, is to do sort of like a S design in a wiggly pattern running through the back of the hair through the middle there. And that keeps quite a bit of her own colour still, so we get a nice kind of intermix of the different colour tones in there. And it means that as it grows out, we're not going to have a really obvious regrowth coming through because she'll still have a fair bit of her own colour. And obviously there's this fantastic curl in here too, so that texture will help to kind of blend it out, make it less obvious as the regrowth comes through. So let's get cracking. So I've started at the top here, starting my section at a point, and then bringing that into a wider section as it comes diagonally across, and then bringing that across here so it becomes like a zigzag sort of pattern, and then snaking its way from here in this corner back down to here, and then you can see the section through the back, sort of coming from this corner across again, and then from here down to the bottom here. So it creates this whole kind of zigzag S snaking pattern through the middle of the length where the mohawk section is going across. I will be bleaching the side panels as well, but as they're sitting right against the scalp, the heat from the scalp will activate the lightener much quicker. So I'm going to leave that right until the last sort of 10 minutes of development time because they will lift very, very quickly. Whereas these lengths and ends that are sitting much further away from the scalp won't be getting that heat to speed it up. So this will take much longer to lighten. So that's why I'm doing these lengths and ends first. You'll also notice I'm not applying it directly to her scalp. I actually want like a little bit of a root shadow effect so that as it grows out, it's not such a harsh line in the hair. So everything I'm doing today is just to help create a look that is going to have some decent lifespan to it and not grow out ugly basically. So quite often people ask me what sort of brands I like to use and what sort of colours I use when I'm doing all my rainbow hair. The truth is that I use a lot of different brands and I often tend to mix and swap between them all. Bit of a brand whore. But I just wanted to talk you through a little bit about some of the colours I'm going to be using today and also about sort of mixing them up. I like to order these little pots. I just get them off Amazon and they're fantastic for just mixing and customizing your own colors. You can also recycle old like Manic Panic pots or Directions hair dye pots. I like the pot packaging just because you can easily just pop the lid back on it when you're done with it and save it for the next time we want to use. Also for some colors you might find it easier to apply that way. So for example, one of the brands that I really enjoy using is Adore. They're very highly pigmented rich colors and they're a very good price tag for the longevity that you get from them. But they're very liquid consistency, so it can be a little bit hard to apply to the hair if you're doing very detailed work, such as what I'm going to be doing today. So in this case, I like to actually just pop it out and put a little bit in a pot, and then that way I can still use it later on. It's not wasted, but it helps me just to apply the colour much more specifically, whereas if you're applying it directly from the bottle, it's good for doing a full head application with one colour, but for doing more detailed work, it's just going to go everywhere. And you can see it's that sort of liquid sort of consistency I'm talking about. It's quite sort of runny and gel-like. And then I'm also going to be using Arctic Fox as well today. And again, I'm just going to pop a little bit out here just for doing the more detailed work, just to be able to access it more easily. Sometimes I see other hairdressers using just your regular mixing bowls of colour. The mixing bowls are great, but unfortunately you get a lot of colour wastage because there's nothing to just reseal it afterwards. And with these colours being direct dyes, they're not mixed with any peroxide, so they don't actually have like a shelf life as it would if you had a tint colour where you mix them together and they have a certain amount of time before, you know, during the development. Whereas these, you just use them directly, hence direct dye, from the bottle. So it does seem a terrible waste then to put it into a tint mixing bowl and then just throw the rest away. So this is why I like to use this technique, and then that way I get to keep whatever colour I have left over. And then also sometimes the mixing bowls that you get can come in lots of different colours as well. I've seen some really pretty rainbow ones, and as lovely and tempting as they are to get, sometimes it can offset your judgment when you're mixing colours, because if you're mixing in a yellow bowl and you're mixing a shade of yellow, it can offset what your eye sees if you're wanting to adjust that colour slightly. So if you're adding like a little bit of orange to it to warm it up, or you know, you want to add, you know, a little bit more conditioner to, like, you know, dilute it down, it can be a little bit hard to judge how much you've diluted when it's sitting in a yellow bowl, because it affects how much your eyes are seeing those colours. So using something that's clear like this is actually a better way for you to really clearly see the colour. You can hold it up to the light even, so you can really see what you're mixing up and make sure you're getting the colour that you really want. So what I'm using here is Adore Jet Black diluted with a little bit of the L'Oreal Smart Bond, just to give me a really dark charcoal really. It's not going to be a solid black because I have broken it up, but it is just going to give me a little bit of grounding for my colours. And especially as Natalie does have naturally darker hair, it will help to just connect things in better with her own colour. So as I'm going through here, I'm going to work my way all the way back up through the head, the same way as I did the bleaching pattern. It doesn't matter if I catch any of the natural hair, because it really won't take very much on that. And then I'm just going through and running my colours through each pattern. I'm doing each one slightly differently, so some I'm going to have greens and blues, others I'm going to have, you know, a bit of a mix of red tones and pink tones through the ends in some areas. So it's just going to be a case of kind of working visually and seeing what sort of, you know, I want to place where as I go along. What I'm going to do here, this is similar to if you've ever done any kind of painting work, where you just need to clean your brush out when you're dipping from one colour to another. So I'm just giving a little bit of water and a raggy towel just to clean my brush off when I'm switching around colours. And I'm using a much smaller brush here, as you can see, just to help get into like doing all the little details and stuff. guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I think, Natalie, do you like your colours?
Love it.
Yeah? So thank you so much for watching. If you want to give us a name for this colour, leave a comment below and give me your suggestions as to what you think we should call this. We've got so many beautiful tones through here, all these sort of fiery colours, and then we've got all these kind of aqua and sort of iridescent tones. So give us an idea what you reckon we should call this colour. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Peace!